Okay, we're continuing with the sixth Perk of Pirke Avoth, what is known as Perek Torah, and we are towards the end of Mishnah He. He's talking about the different qualities that helps a person achieve greatness. And the next one we are up to is Emunat Chachamim. Emunat Chachamim. To have trust in what Chachamim have to say. See, that makes all the difference in the world. Everything in this life, everything, I mean, I can't emphasize this enough, has to do, and Chinuch writes this a number of times, with what type of attitude do we approach it. You hear there's a speaker in town, you hear a lot of good report, this and that, you're excited about it, and you go in there, you come out inspired, you come out impressed. But if the same speech, nobody had told you anything, and right before you go in, somebody says, I've heard him, he doesn't have much to say. So the same speech will not have effect on you, because your expectation is already that I'm not going to come out of this inspired. It's just, whatever we put into something is the type of impact we allow ourselves to get. You go to pray, you go to do tefillah. If you come with that feeling that I want to connect, so you'll connect differently. If it's tefillah keva chas shalom, that Mishnah says we should be always vigilant that our tefillah shouldn't be keva. Oh, it's something I do again today, I did yesterday, and I do every day. It's just, a habit. So you don't get much out of it. So then you have Emunat Chachamim. If we truly appreciate what Torah says is the absolute truth, is the very, very foundation of how this world works, then we know, even if we don't understand it, so there's a depth we don't understand. You try, and you get it. But if you don't have that trust, what the rabbis know, they made a mistake. I have a different opinion. Right? Somebody was once learning, and he was a little bit of a newcomer. So the rabbi told him the idea in the parsha. So he says, why? I want to say different. So he said, well, this is what God said. So he says, I disagree with God. So if our attitude is such, he was a sort of a nubal show. He wasn't doing it to be funny or whatever. He just felt, the point is, if we don't recognize the greatness of Almighty, so then, why should you? Why should you listen? Why should you? And I've said this story before, but I'm so impressed by this story. It's endless how this story really impacted me. Rabbi Weinberg, Yaakov Weinberg, Zechat Tzadik Yivracha, he, those of you who haven't seen him, it's impossible to really describe and articulate his genius. I'm not talking about his level of Torah knowledge, which I'm not qualified to speak about. I'm not talking about the level but the genius of the man, his depth of understanding. It truly was scary. It was more than awe-inspiring. I was petrified every time I wanted to talk to him, because he saw right through you. The brilliance, the mind was unbelievable. Yaakov Weinberg. So to truly appreciate the story like I do, one has to know him. He once said, he went through Shas more or less fairly once a year or whatever. So he said every time he went through Hilchot Kibud Av V'Em, there is a Bach, right? There is a comment from the Sefer Bach, Sefer Bet Chadash, which he says it absolutely makes no sense. It seems to be against the Gemara. It makes no sense, and he told us the Bach, and he said the Kasha. It seemed impossible. And he said, here is the really impressive. He said, right, every year when I go through the Sugya again, I went through the Bach. Year after year after year. And no, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. He said this year, and he was so happy. He said this year, I finally found out how Bach looked at this sugya, how Bach looked at it differently, and how in his point of view it's not a question. I finally answered the question. Right? Don't ask you what the question was. Don't remember, unfortunately. Don't ask me the answer. I don't remember, which is even worse. Right? Unfortunately. Chidush Weinberg should really, I hope it's recorded somewhere. But what did stay with me is Yachad Weinberg is a genius. He's a genius like no one. Right? After one time trying to solve something, right, and not being able to, the chances are this is not something that could be solved. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. But he didn't think so. Every time he tried again, afresh. Let me see if there is any way. So what would happen if he didn't have that emunat chachamim? He trusted that, look, as much as I don't understand Bach, Bach understood Bach. When Bach said it, it made sense to him. It is impossible that Bach didn't know what he was talking about. It is impossible that he didn't think of my question. I may or may not have an answer. But I know there is something deeper here. Because he knew there is something deeper here, he was willing to give it a try every time, again and again. And had he given up, so one new facet, one new insight, a new door, a new outlook into that whole sugya would have been lost to him. Right? That is his greatness. He didn't close the door on himself. See, it doesn't change Bach, whether he understood him or not. Bach was who he was. It changed Rabbi Weinberg. Because he allowed himself, again, I'm nobody to talk about Rabbi Weinberg. I'm talking about, listen to us. He allowed him a door to open and learn a new idea, eventually. Had he, after 3 or 4 or 5 times or 10 times, would have said, I think he said it was going on close to 18 years. Right? Would have said, you know what, I tried it, this doesn't make sense. So then, who would be at the end of the day the one who missed something? Him. He wouldn't have to open them. So that's emunat chachamim. When we have that trust, there is a greatness here. And I may have a little bit of a road ahead of me to discover the full greatness. But the greatness is there. It's not like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Then, that is one of the keys, says Mishnah, to greatness.